what would be something people would be surprised to find out about you?
That I do stand-up comedy. It's like if you knew me 5 years ago, it'd be like that I now do stand-up comedy. Like if we do retrospective.
Yeah.
Well, I have jokes about this, but people think I'm a very chill person, and I'm like not chill. Like the joke is that I'm terrified to contribute to conversations, and I think it's just really funny because people think I'm a very laid-back person, and sometimes I am, but other times I'm not, and I think it surprises people.
It still surprises me.
I'm a good actor.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
You know what's really cool is now I feel like I have a backdrop and I almost don't want to hang anything because you're not the angle you're looking at, but the angle on camera here. It's just kind of a nice, just solid, not disruptive backdrop.
Yeah.
And if I put a bunch of things, I feel like it just changes. It changes the vibe. So you never, this is working. I'm happy.
I feel like you need stuff though.
All right. Well, you can design something for me because I'm struggling with that. I don't know what to put back there. But now I have a nice mic stand, so that's also exciting. A new addition to the party is my mic stand. So when you come to practice your stand-up, you'll have like a legit setup here in the city now to practice.
I know.
The kind that goes, wait a second, up and down where you twist the little handle. It's really cool. Thank you, Don Case.
Oh my God. I know. I need to get one to practice with for stand-up because it is an art form, maneuvering the microphone and the mic stand.
And getting it in and out like that. I mean, it's a whole thing.
It's really funny because you can tell when someone's new at stand-up if they don't move the mic stand behind them.
Oh, right. You do that every time. I've noticed you yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today we're going to do questions for you. And the thing is, since we did a comedy one recently, I didn't really focus the questions on comedy as much because I felt like we kind of went down that path. So I decided this is definitely going to be more of a lifestyle, asking you questions, and there's buckets of questions, and we'll see how we go. But I wanted it to be a little bit more
So there's no theme.
More person. There's no theme. No, there's no theme.
Nice.
It's all over the map.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to really start, since your life, significant things that you've been through since now is like your buckets of high school, your then college, and then your work experience before working with me. So I think that I would like to ask you some questions first, starting with high school. I want to do a little bit timeline based. I didn't throw back to childhood. I don't think we need to go down that deep, but I'd like to know, what did you like most about high school and what did you like the least?
Getting out.
That's what you like the most. Okay.
No. Okay. Oh goodness. I was literally, this is so funny that you asked me this because last night I literally wrote down a joke idea before I went to bed. And let me read it to you because this is very apropos.
Okay.
The joke idea that I wrote down was, I know all I need to know about a person based on how many people they keep in touch with from high school.
Oh no. Okay.
That's premise.
Really interesting. That's really interesting. Okay.
Anyway,
that's funny.
That was my funny joke that I had last night. Okay, favorite thing about high school.
That's a funny joke.
Thank you.
Chuckling about that one. I wonder what that says about me because I keep in solid touch with 8 of them. But anyway,
I also think it's different. Like
generationally,
I think this is more for people. Like, I think the ceiling is if I meet anyone in their 20s and 30s and early 40s, the social media technology era. I think it's different.
Okay.
If you didn't have technology growing up, that was my
okay.
I think it's
Fair
if
enough.
I meet okay. Okay, favorite part about high school. I guess that I got into art and
great.
embraced art.
Good one.
I would say middle school really liked sports, and then high school is when I kind of started to not like the team sports. It's so sad because all the high school, it was so political in our town,
right?
So it was really upsetting, and yeah. So I would say that the best part was getting into to like the art scene. Probably my least favorite part was that I kind of dropped the sports because I'm like dad. I don't have like a high tolerance for bullshit.
Uh,
And you know, I could see a lot of that even as a teenager in the high school sports arena. So I was like, I'm just not like, I didn't see the reward of like putting in all the effort, I guess, from like an early period.
all right. Now, if you could change something from high school, what would you change? That's the other high school question.
That I went to high school in the city.
Oh,
Or like that we lived in a city and not the suburbs.
oh my God. So unfortunate. I would have loved to do that.
I
You
know.
know what I mean?
I know. It's okay.
Oh
It's just
my
like looking back, I'm like,
God.
oh, I think I would have like thrived being a city kid probably more than a
You
suburbs
definitely
kid.
would have thrived. That is so freaking spot on. The fact that you don't know what these questions are and you have these answers, it blows my mind also, by the way, because I can't ever think that quickly on my feet and have really good, meaningful answers to things. Like it takes me a while to percolate.
And I
Wow.
don't even mean like, oh, New York City. I just think like any big city,
A city.
like New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, like any
Wow.
big city, I think would have been probably like better for me. Like I just think, and I think that's
Gosh.
why I feel like so like I never want to go back. Not that I obviously loved Chatham, have a soft spot in my heart for it, but I'm
Mm.
like I don't think I ever want to live in the suburbs like ever again.
I love your answers so far. So, given
That's good.
your not attachment to sports in high school and then your desire to live in the city, what made you so obsessed about going to Michigan to college? Because you were
Mm.
hell friggin' bent on Michigan. And the thing is, you can say, oh, well, sports, big school, whatever the thing. But, you know, you got into Wisconsin. And so you almost were a Badger.
Yeah.
Except at the last minute things changed. But why Michigan? Like where the
Yeah.
hell did that come from? Because talk about blindsiding me. Another thing that you blindsided me with besides art, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I always said just because I wasn't playing sports, I still really loved sports. So I was like, I'm gonna only apply to art schools within Big Ten or Big East colleges because I
Okay.
was like, I still want to have that. My theory was, and I think Tommy was one of the people who kind of like said this because I was thinking about applying to schools in New York City, and he's like, you have your whole life to live in New York City,
Oh.
which I thought was interesting. Like, you have your whole life to live in a big city, like after college, like.
Okay.
Which I thought, because my biggest thing was like I knew I wanted to go to art school, but I didn't want to do art school vibes of like being at Pratt or
Mm-hmm.
Parsons or like an
RISD
FIT.
or
Like
RISD?
I didn't
Oh
want
yeah.
to, yeah, any of those. Like I knew that I didn't want to just be like constantly surrounded by like art school kids, and that like going to college in New York City would have been a totally different experience than like going to a sports school. And I will say that even though like Michigan wasn't necessarily in a big city, I remember we went to visit UConn and I was like, this is in the
This
middle
is
of
in the middle
bumblefuck
of nowhere.
nowhere. Like I can't do this. So I think where I landed with Michigan and then, you know, also Wisconsin was that they were universities in like Midwest cities. So they were still cities,
They were cities.
but it wasn't like, which I think was honestly good because it was like a gateway to like starting to do city living. Like it wasn't like I was going from 0 to 100 of like 0
Right,
to living
right.
in Chicago or 0 to living in New York or 0 to living in LA. It was like
Yeah.
a little starter city, and then I like slowly.
Yeah. It was meant to be, but it's just like it's so logical and it's so well thought out. It's almost as if everything you did plan it in that way. Because really when I went there I thought, "Oh, this is so cool. It's like a college town vibe." But
Mhm.
it was like you weren't in driving into a campus and the flags and then you were in the campus by
Yeah.
itself. Okay, that the more Fairfield vibe of Tommy's, like driving into the campus. I mean, he was near enough to the town of Fairfield, but still, you went
Yeah.
into a campus, and yours was never that.
Yeah. I remember driving into UConn and I liked the UConn program a lot, and I was like, I just know I'm gonna hate it here.
Oh wow! But that was a great program, by the way, because it was
I
like so
know.
very artsy production, very plugged into all
Yeah.
of that. I
So
remember
yeah.
thinking, man, that's a good one to keep in mind for someone. All right, I like that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
All right, so my next one is, and this one's a little more personal, and you don't have to answer it even, but what is something maybe you never told me from college because you thought it might upset me? Like, were there things, because I'm sure, look, we have an open relationship pretty much. And I know, and I will, Tommy's listening. I know at one point on a ski slope, I said to him, look, if you ever drink, whatever, you can always call me. I won't judge you. And, blah, blah, blah. And he held on to that. And so when that happened, he did call. So I feel that we had the same kind of thing. Like I've always said to you, you can tell me whatever you need to tell me. I'm not going to be offended,
Yeah.
but I think more so that you would be more protecting of me, not so much because you were scared to tell me necessarily, at least I don't think, but tell me honestly, because you're old enough now. There's something a thing that I can tell you a story that I never told my parents until I don't even think I've ever told them it, because it was like, they're going to get so upset. So I won't tell them this.
I never did anything like
that. You feel like you couldn't tell me?
The first time I threw up from alcohol was like 3 months into college. Like it took a while. I think I was like, no offense to Tommy, but so scarred from when he came home drunk that time that I was just like, I don't ever want to be that. And I was like, I don't ever want to get that drunk. And I just was like terrified because I don't like throwing up either.
Yeah.
And it's like awful. And I just feel like I really held on to, I did really good and not ever, and I've never like, I never.
So do you think you never told me that or something?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of like something juicier, but like I don't think.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious if there's anything that you said, oh my God, like I can give you an example, which I have never really even told my parents about, but me and Kelly talk about it all the time. The one time we were driving up to West Point because we were going to go like meet guys at West Point. We were teenagers. I had a car and we were driving north on the Palisades Parkway. And I thought for some reason, my dyslexia that I know that I have now, sorry, Marianne, because I told her to walk west when she was supposed to walk east. But my dyslexia saw the sign that said Palisades Parkway South. And I'm like, oh, I've got to veer that way because that's the direction we're going. But my brain processed south as north. So I accidentally didn't realize I was on the left lane going into a U-turn lane. And we like veered off the road, spun out, like landed in the woods. I mean, this is like the two of us looked at each other and we thought, okay, we're alive. Like that's how bad it was. I had I want to call it like a near death experience driving because of my dyslexia, where I thought I had to follow this sign to the left and it was turned out to be a U-turn. And when I realized it, I was like, and the car spun in circles and we went into these, like almost into the trees. I never told my parents that story ever. If they listen to this, they're going to hear it, but they never ever told them that story. And the two of us sat there stunned. My legs were shaking. But that's like a story that I would never tell them because I would be like, I'm going to get in so much trouble as a teenager, Like, I don't think you would have that because you're not going to think that anything you tell me I would be mad about.
I know.
Right?
Like, I feel like I don't really have anything. Like, I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything risky enough to like warrant a secret, but I'll think about it. But I feel like I don't have anything that's like I never did anything like absurd. I never did anything like that got me in trouble with like higher ups. I don't know. Sorry, I'm boring.
No, that's okay. What's something that you think you had to learn the hard way? Like, is there anything in your life that you're like, well, I learned that the hard way, like by doing something, by something in traveling or something like is there anything that you could say, damn, like.
I feel like, okay, I don't know if this is like a hard one or it's one that I still like struggle with, but I have like very vivid memories in high school being like upset about something, about like friends or whatever, and dad was just like, people will let you down in life. And that was like a hard one that like I still sometimes have like trouble with, or that like sometimes I go too much in the opposite direction of like, okay, like I'm not going to let my expectations for people get too high. Like, I feel like that's one that's like really hard. But like he said, like, I think I was like 16. He's like, people are going to let you down. And it's like, you got to like, no, I think I was like 13. That's what I think it was. God. And he was just like, people are going to let you down. And like, you have to be okay with that.
Oh my God. I need to learn that one now. I mean, wow.
And that one's still, I feel like kind of
hard. That's so deep for Tom to lay on you. I like it though, because it's very true. That's so him to say that.
Because I think I was just like, I put a lot of effort into something and then like I didn't get the same effort in return from like my friends, and I was like upset. And I didn't want to like let on that I was upset to them. So I feel like I was probably venting to you guys, and he was just like, people are going to let you down. And you have
Wow.
to be okay with that or expect that, or like you will learn to know the people who are going to let you down.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like that's sad.
Have you ever been the opposite, like where you've been like so surprised by something people did to you? Like,
Like
wow,
bad or
that's
good?
no good. Like something like unexpected
Mm.
in a good way.
When like Eva and Monica threw me a surprise birthday party, like that in Australia when I studied abroad, it's like people I've known for like 3 months did more than like a lot of people I've known my whole life did. So it was like, not like, I mean, friend wise, not like family.
Yeah. No, I got you. I knew it. I know what you meant. But yeah, I was going to say that one if you couldn't think of it, because I'm like, I remember that being like, I was so, I mean, grateful to them too for being
Yeah.
new friends and going so far, like that extra mile. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay, what would be something people would be surprised to find out about you, surprised to learn about you?
That I do stand up comedy. It's like if you knew me 5 years ago, it'd be like that I now do stand up comedy. Like if we do retrospective or like retroactively.
Yeah.
Well, I have jokes about this, but people think I'm a very chill person, and I'm like not chill. Like the joke is that I'm terrified to contribute to conversations, and I think it's just really funny because people think I'm a very laid back person, and like and sometimes I am, but other times I'm not, and I think it surprises people.
Yeah. It still surprises me because it doesn't, even though I know this about you, I guess because it's so unfamiliar that I don't remember it. Like I don't think of it as when I see you in a situation, I don't think, oh, she's probably really uncomfortable right now. Like it never even occurs to me that you are. You play it off so well. Like so well.
I'm a good
It's
actor.
amazing. I guess. I guess.
I think that's just the one. And I feel sometimes I get nervous. Like this will really tell. Sometimes I get nervous doing those jokes because I'm like, oh my god, then these people are going to hear that I have these jokes that I'm terrified of conversation, and then they're going to think when I'm having a conversation with them that I'm terrified, and then I don't know what to say, and I'm like, maybe I should stop doing these jokes because then people are like not going to want to talk to me because I think I'm like so scared, and I have to like caveat it with like, don't worry if like I'm friendly enough with you, like I don't have that as bad.
That's so funny. But I don't think still people, if I will say, even if I know someone blatantly will say to me like, oh, I get so uncomfortable or whatever, I will make the effort so that they don't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I feel that that's my skill set. That's my like magic sauce. When I go into a situation and I could see someone's uncomfortable, I will immediately help that person not be uncomfortable. Like that, I feel like I'm put on this earth for that in a weird way, to help people feel comfortable wherever I go. It's like something's awkward going, I will be the one that's going to like break the ice. You know, we're in the elevator and some weird thing happens. I will be the icebreaker. I will make everybody like come together on this, whatever. That's just, I don't know. That's just so funny. So yeah. So that's why I think I am in tune to that a lot of times. I'll see people that I see are uncomfortable. You think you hide it well though.
I think I do too.
And you're working on it, obviously, right? Because you don't want it to happen.
I don't want it to impact things. But like I hate networking, and I'm trying to like figure out comedy writing and doing this stuff, and everyone's just like, you just have to network and go to networking events. And like that will give me an anxiety attack thinking about going to a networking event and like having to talk to people and like introduce myself.
Wait. But yet, this is what's confusing to me, is you got on the bus to go to camp by yourself with no friends. You got on a plane, you went to overseas and you went on a 21-day Europe trip, Julie, without a friend.
The thing is, I push myself to do those things because I know that I need to do them, even though it makes me deathly uncomfortable.
That's crazy. Like you take a class, but you don't take a class with some. A lot of people are terrified to go to these girls. I was at an exercise class. They went together to the exercise class. Like I don't need anybody to go to an exercise class with me, but a lot of people would need a buddy system. Like you seem like you would want a buddy system because you are like maybe uncomfortable, and yet you do these things alone.
Yeah. Maybe it's you. Maybe I see you do the things alone, and then I'm like, well, Helen would just do it.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. Maybe it's a product of just like, well, I'm not gonna. I think part of it is maybe, with the thing of of people letting me down. It's like, well, I'm not gonna wait for somebody to do this. Like, I'm not gonna wait for
Right.
somebody to make this happen. Like, if I waited for someone to take a stand up comedy class with me, I wouldn't have been doing it.
Right.
If I
Okay.
waited for someone to like go to Michigan with me, wouldn't have ever done that either. It's like I
Right.
think part of it is like it's knowing I need to get the thing done, knowing I need to rely on myself, knowing that I shouldn't rely on other people sometimes to do the thing, like to achieve the things that I want to do.
So then my next question is, do you have any odd talents? I get asked this question a lot. And
Mm.
that's why I'm like, I'm going to throw it on you, because I get, every time I'm doing a thing,
Ugh.
somebody will say, well, do you have any unusual talents? And I'm like, thank God I was a baton twirler, because I really got nothing. I can write backwards and I can twirl a baton.
Honestly, I feel like when I tell people in this phase of life, like college, like adulthood, that I was like a very big athlete growing up, shock. Like that they would think that I could like play sports. It's like shocking to people.
Oh, that's good.
So I don't think it's like an
people that
odd
don't know you.
talent, but it's like baton twirling. Like people, like I could still like you could still twirl a thing. I could probably I need to buy a basketball. We've been saying this, like there's a park near us that has like courts, and I'm like, we should just get a basketball so we can go shoot around, because I feel like I would like love that. And I don't know why I haven't bought one yet. Maybe I'll do today. But yeah, people in my post high school phase of life are always shocked to hear that I was a very big athlete and that like I have a good aptitude for picking up sports. We went to play pickleball with with our friends here, and it was like Tim and someone else's friend, but Tim just wasn't expecting that I would be good at pickleball, so he challenged me to play 1-on-1, and I was like, okay, your funeral, and I beat him 11-1.
Stop it. You said your funeral? Number
Like
one,
in my
that's funny.
head, I was like, okay.
Did you really beat him 11-1?
Yeah.
Julie, that's a talent.
I feel
I'm
like
just
that's
gonna say it.
my special skill. I
You're
mean,
s-
I also think the world of comedians are not the most athletic people, so it is surprising.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that's my odd talent.
That's a good talent. That's a good odd talent. Oh my God. All right. If you could be a Disney or Pixar character, who would you pick and why? I already know mine, which is funny. I didn't even think about it until this very second.
like mine, yours, or
No,
know
I
the
know
one
mine.
for me. Oh.
I know mine. Because sometimes when I ask you a question, I'm like, is this a fair question? Would I be able to answer it? I was thinking about it as I
Okay,
asked
you tell me yours while I think.
Okay. Inside Out, I'm Joy.
Would that make me anxiety?
You don't have to pick an Inside Out character.
I know. I'm trying to think.
You could pick a Disney princess. I was going to ask you that, but I don't know. The Disney princess thing, that's like...
Oh, this one's hard.
But I want to be Joy. I want to be at the controls with the emotions. And I'm excited.
Oh my God.
I love that movie so much. By the way, I don't think you would be anxiety in that movie either. Although it's funny because you think, would you be anxiety in that movie? Would that be your pick out of that movie?
I don't think so. Because I
don't think so either.
I'm not like that 24/7.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
you're not.
What character would you pick for me? I'm trying to think. Do you have one in mind?
Oh, I didn't have one in mind. I was kind of curious to see what you were going to pick. But I guess if I was going to pick one, it would be more like a Pocahontas type. Like, so
Like Moana?
Moana. That's what I was thinking, but I haven't seen that movie, so I don't know all the details about Moana. So, but like that's what I would pick.
Yeah.
Because I just think it needs to be like a strong female character.
Yeah.
That's like making shit happen type of thing.
I know. I feel like I haven't watched the movie in a while, but I feel like Moana, but I haven't.
Okay.
She just like does the thing on her own, and she like doesn't.
Okay.
And she's dealing with the big Maui guy and putting him in his place, which feels very on brand for me.
So funny.
All right. What's next? Do you have more questions, or is that?
I have one. I kind of have one more. That's
Okay.
like, I don't want to say it's like a wrap up question, but it might be a little bit more of a deeper question. So let's go
Okay.
for it. So, what don't I understand about your life right now?
Mm. Mm, 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 mm.
And this is from someone who I try to really understand things about
I
your
feel
life.
like
Like,
you do understand. So it's like it's hard for me to say something that you don't understand. I don't know.
okay, well, maybe what other people don't understand about your life now. But I mean, maybe there is something I don't understand about your life right now. So
Oh, this is a hard one. Steven's gonna have to cut
that's
out
why
some
I
of this
saved it to
thinking
the end.
time.
Yeah, it's okay. I just like, I wanted it to be thoughtful questions and not just like, what's your favorite color? How do you want your haircut
Okay.
next? Like, I don't want surface questions.
I feel like sometimes people don't understand. Like maybe not. Like I don't know if this one's like just an internalized question that I think people have is like why don't I live back on like in New York City? I feel, but
Hmm.
that's like one more for like people who are there. Like they don't get that.
Hmm.
Um,
But I mean, let's not make it about even the distance. Is there
I
something
know.
about your life?
I'm
Let's pause
thinking.
for a minute while I read something. You think, okay? Because I'm going to read something that you sent me this morning. And it says, for this is for people in their young 20s and 30s. The reason you feel behind in your 30s isn't because you failed at timing. It's because you're measuring your life against a timeline that was written for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Your parents' milestones were mapped for an economy that died, a housing market that vanished, relationships that didn't have to survive social media. You're not behind. You're navigating a new way through.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, love that quote. Like, I was like, wowza. And you know what it made me think of? So, as you're thinking of your answer for your question, so we're not leaving that one. We are going to end with that. But as you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking of your answer, it made me think that when you were young, so when you were not born, I was in my 20s. And then when you were born, I was in my 30s. And I was still working for, I want to say the man. I didn't work for a gigantic corporation, but I always worked in a company. So you only know me after 25 years of my work efforts. And you're judging your now life based on my life that you remember. So
Mm.
if you're comparing yourself, anybody who's listening really, comparing their self to their parents, they only remember and can evaluate their parents from the time that they were old enough to realize.
I feel like this is the question of like, is there something I've never told you from like my college years? Like, I just don't like. I think
Oh,
you
okay.
have a pretty good you have a good grasp. I feel like you're very understanding, and I'm very lucky that you are.
This was great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us on the journey of question and answers for Julie today. Yours
Alrighty.
truly.
Helen and Julie.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.